This is the second part in my series on Comet Elenin. Is this comet a hoax, or is it the hand of God? Now, there are so many coincidences to this comet, I can see where people would consider that it must be a hoax. The government and NASA must be pulling a fast one on us. The other possibility is this is from the hand of God. In other words, this is a specific warning. A warning to America and a warning about the Antichrist. If we look at the numerology, I think you can see where I am coming from. Now, God often warns mankind through numerology about what he is going to do. For example, in the book of Revelation, St. John uses the phrase wisdom and understanding only twice, and both times he is referring to numerology. In part 1, we looked at the movie Deep Impact and how that predicted Comet Elenin. On this program, I want to talk about how the shooting in Arizona of Congresswoman Gabby Giffords is related to Comet Elenin, and how both of these are warnings to America, especially about the Antichrist. First, let's review part 1. In the movie Deep Impact, for example, we saw the number 666, which is the number of the Antichrist. And we saw it on a highway sign that was shown 3 different times. We saw the number 9/11, which is a warning to the United States, on a clock. Remember, it was set at 11 minutes after 9. Now, I did not see the number 11/9, which is the reverse of 9/11. Now, maybe some of you who are more familiar with the film can tell me that, yes, indeed, this number is included, but so far I have not found it. And the number 23 was repeated 3 times. 23 is another number for the Antichrist. And the reason is because 2 symbolizes man, 3 symbolizes God, and when you put man before God or over God, you get the fraction 2/3. And 2/3 equals 0.666, another expression for the Antichrist. Now let's take a look at Gabby Giffords and how this shooting also is related to the Comet Elenin. Now we find the number 666 in the Gabby Giffords shooting in the first letter of her name, G. Of all the letters in the alphabet, G looks the most like 6. And the third 6 comes from the number of victims. So we do find 666. And don't forget, Gabby Giffords was shot in the head. Her head wound, which is mysteriously and miraculously being healed, symbolizes the Antichrist, because he also suffers a head wound in the Bible. This whole incident has to do with the Antichrist, and it is a warning to America. For example, 9/11. The little girl who was shot by Jared Loughner was born on 9/11. She was called a 9/11 baby. The number 9/11 is reversed because that is 119, and that is the number of days that January 8th occurs after 9/11, the 9th anniversary of 9/11. And the number 23, now I have not yet found that number in the Gabby Giffords shooting. Perhaps it is there, perhaps not. Now let's go on to Comet Elenin, and we will see these numbers duplicated in this event. As with Gabby Giffords, we find the number 6 in Leonid Elenin's own name. In other words, there are 6 letters in Leonid. There are 6 letters in Elenin. And this is also true in the Russian language. Now, the third 6 has not yet occurred. So far, we have had 3 major earthquakes associated with alignments of Comet Elenin, the Earth, and the Sun. I suspect we will have 3 more. I believe we will have 6 major earthquakes that are not necessarily caused by Elenin, but that occur at the same time that Elenin aligns with Earth. Now, I realize that Comet Elenin does not have the gravitational pull to cause such earthquakes. But is this a hoax? In other words, is Comet Elenin a much larger planetary body? Or is this the hand of God? If this is the hand of God, then we are seeing supernatural events here. And that means that they do not have to be explained by nature. These may not be coincidences after all. Let's look at 9/11. 9/11 is the date for the perihelion of this comet. Now, this is an amazing coincidence in itself. Comets come from God. This date of the perihelion cannot be an accident, unless the whole program, as shown on JPL, is a hoax. It's one or the other. This is not accidental. Not only that, but 9/11 in reverse is found here, because Elenin is short for 11 and 9. Again, this is either part of a huge hoax on the part of the government, or God Almighty is trying to tell us something. And the number 23 will also be apparent with Comet Elenin, because both the 23rd of September and the 23rd of November are related to alignments. Now, we haven't had the third 23 yet. That could be any month, June, July, August, or maybe later. 23 is a very evil number, as I said. It's another expression for the Antichrist. Thus, we see the Antichrist here in the 3 6s, in the 23s, and we see a warning to America in 9/11 and in 11/9. The movie Deep Impact, the Comet Elenin, and also the shooting of Gabby Giffords all have amazing numerology associated with them. And all of them have to do with the Antichrist and with the United States of America. We have seen 2 incidences just this past week that verify God is warning America, and he is warning about the Antichrist. That poor woman who was decapitated in Los Cristianos. Please note that name. Los Cristianos. That was a warning to Christians that many of their fates will be that they are decapitated by the Antichrist, as prophesied in the Bible. And just this past week, we had that horrible attack by the head of the IMF on a poor immigrant woman in a New York City hotel. These rich and powerful people have no morals. It doesn't bother them to attack sexually poor innocent women. This is another prophecy fulfillment from the Bible, because America is the whore of Babylon. And remember, the kings of the earth commit fornication with Babylon, as prophesied in the book of Revelation. So in conclusion, I believe there are just too many coincidences in Comet Elenin, and too much amazing numerology. God does speak to mankind through numbers. And in part 3 of this series, I'm going to show you where I believe Comet Elenin is found in Bible prophecy. But remember, God reveals the future not to scare us, but to prepare us. And as always, if you would like a free copy of my book, Revelation Unraveled, simply write to the address you see on your screen or send me a private message to my YouTube account.